reading is titled, Teach us to consider no work more important than thy work. O Spirit, as no work is possible without borrowing from thee the power to perform it, so teach us to consider no work greater than thy spiritual work. Teach us to feel that since no duty is possible without thee, so no duty is more important than our duty to thee. And teach us to love thee above everything. For we cannot live or love anything or anybody without thy life, thy love. Oh.
From the Bhagavad Gita.
O son of Pritha, Arjuna, no further duty compels me. There is no state left for me to attain, and nothing in the three worlds, material, astral, and causal, for me to gain. Yet still I work on for the upliftment of others. There, where all such good work is done, am I. This passage contains two meanings, overt and covert. Overtly, Krishna is saying, free though I am, I still work in this body for the benefit of others. More esoterically, he is saying, I, the infinite spirit, am at the heart of all spiritually uplifting work everywhere. The point is that in any truly good work, God already is that work. The devotee who serves God sincerely, with loving devotion, need never be anxious that God might possibly be displeased with him.
And I was remembering, there's a wonderful servant of God right here. I was remembering a story of Swamiji when he came to Master. Within 8 months, he heard from one of his brother disciples that Master wanted him to go and give a talk like this, but in a huge, with a big crowd, one of the churches. And that was amazing. Swamiji said, I've never lectured in my life. And the monk said, well, here's the money for the bus. You should go. And so he went. And in addition to giving the talk, which he was very afraid to do, but he did it. At the age of 22, he had been with this guru for 8 months. Master had him serving right away. In addition to that, he had Swamiji give a Kriya Yoga initiation. Same day, to one person. He said, I just had one Kriya myself. I've only had one initiation, and the monk reminded him 2. And so after 2 initiations and never lecturing before, Master sends his disciple off to serve immediately. And this is the spirit of Yogananda ji. Many people come, they think it's only about meditation, this is enough, but there are 2 pillars of this path. One is meditation, and the other is seva, service. Getting out of yourself, out of thinking about yourself, your own difficulties. And Master said meditation helps your service, and service helps your meditation. There was a beautiful picture that went around on some of the WhatsApp groups of Shurjo. It was in America, still there, one of the leaders here. And what was he doing? Helping to build the temple. And all the acharyas, Devarshi, Jayaji, Jyotishji, all helped to build many of the temples, many of the structures at Ananda village. All of us have served in many ways that way, in various ways at Ananda. Swamiji started Rajasi Day, which is a seva day, a whole day of dedicated seva to uplifting the community, making it more beautiful, building structures, getting in the garden, planting flowers, get in the market, organize the shelves, go to the expanding light, clean up there, and everybody has either a hoe or a shovel or a hammer or a dust cloth or whatever you need, or a ladder. And in the earlier days, Swamiji even would join. So this is a big part of the spiritual path. And I remember once when we first came here, I was giving a talk in Gurgaon, and we were 4, I think, on a panel giving different aspects of one topic. And there was a huge gathering, 200-300 people there. And I remember afterwards, an elderly gentleman came to me and he said, "Oh, it was such a wonderful discourse, but there was so much seva to do. I mean, we had to get out of the room at a certain point, and there were boxes and everything to load onto the truck, and we had to leave. And so I said, thank you, but we started picking up things and putting them in boxes. He says, now, Acharya, I know you're not going to pack the boxes, are you? And I said, you just watch me. Everybody had to help. Like Swamiji said, this beautiful phrase, many hands make a miracle. And you know what happened to that man? He started helping because he saw that I was helping, and he saw the joy of the group. You probably remember that one story from the path where Swamiji and some of the monks were building a swimming pool for Master. And they had a certain part of the job. They worked around the clock. I believe it was 24 hours. They had little breaks for snacks and whatever. And so after about an hour, one of the men, he says, I didn't come here to do this. I didn't come to the ashram for this. I came to meditate. He goes and sits down. The rest of them keep going, and they're shoveling and, doing whatever they had to do. And Swamiji said, we were chanting the whole time. Chanting, serving. They got happier and happier and happier. Everybody was happy except for the man who sat down. And isn't it so? He was complaining the whole time. Why do we have to do this hard work? It's too hot. It's too much hard work. He went on and on. And the whole time, all the rest of them, now what happened? They felt the divine joy. They felt Master's joy. They felt God's joy. They felt the joy from Satsang, from being in that together and serving together. And so this is a big part of the path. And I remember when I came to Ananda, I was like that man. I used to think, well, gee, I just want to learn how to meditate. And I thought we would just sit at Swamiji's feet and he would tell us what to do. Well, he didn't just tell you what. He told you things, but he gave you things to do. Sometimes to the point of exhaustion. I mean, he just tested you and tested you and tested you. And I remember once I was working in the Kriya Sangha in America, like what Devarshi does here. And there was this huge weekend with hundreds and hundreds of people at Ananda who came for Kriya renewal, take Kriya again, take the higher Kriyas, and with Swamiji, mind you. And so we had about 3 months of setting that up and organizing. I mean, Americans we start early. As you probably know, so working on that for months and months. And I was in charge of the project, and there were so many volunteers and people doing all kinds of things. So this went on all the way up to the program. Hundreds of people, big amphitheater, talks every day, Swamiji giving higher kriyas. It went on and on and on. Kirtans, choir singing. I mean, it was like trying to organize all that was pretty amazing. So after that, I thought I was tired. Now, you might think you should have been tired. Now, this is what we think. I'm tired. Doesn't that thought come in? I've done all this now. I did it, and I'm tired. So I remember going home, and I was just flat out on the floor. I'm tired now. Don't ask me. Someone knocks at the door. Dhyana, we need you to come and do this. I said, you just can't be saying that. I just know you're not saying that. But they were saying that. And I had to pick myself up. And that's what I mean. Sometimes to the point you're exhausted, but you have more to give. So I went and did whatever that was. And I remember once in Italy, Swamiji had given a big Kriya. And we were the ones who set up the Kriya, same thing, and got everything going. And then afterwards, there were so many people there. The staff people who were, serving and all that, we just thought, well, we'll just go over to Swamiji's house now. He lived next door. So after everything was done, and we've done our duty, we sneak off and leave everybody there. We go to Swamiji's house, and this was a retreat, so many people were staying the night, and we said, it's our moment, so we sneak off to Swamiji's house, and we go over there. And we said, oh, thank you, Swamiji, such a wonderful Kriya. He says, wonderful. He says, now what's happening over there at that place? And I said, people are raiding the refrigerator. They're so hungry, they want something to eat. And he says, he told all of us, get back over there, feed those people, cook the meal. And he just never allowed you to think about yourself. It was like, how can you not think about all those people? They're hungry. And I was thinking, I can't cook anything. Get over there. So we run back over and start getting things out of the refrigerator. But that was always the spirit. It was never, come on, you poor people, you're tired. Sit down, let me give you a cup of tea. He says, what more can you do? And at that point, I remember one time though, he asked me to come to help him do something in his house. And I lived close to Swamiji's house in America. So he would call those who lived nearby for different, chores that had to be done. So this was late. It was maybe 9 or 9:30 or whatever. So I get the call from Swamiji, Dhyana, would you come over and help me? Yes, I'm coming. So I was always very alert. So I get to Swamiji's house and he says, oh, can you do this? And then he says, oh, thank you so much for coming. I said, Swamiji, only if I were dead would I not show up here. And he says, just relax. It's all right. Dead. It's okay. But he didn't want you to get uptight, but he wanted you to take it seriously, that you're serving an avatar's work. And through that, you yourself will grow. And so, the statement of Masters, I will reason, I will, and I will act, but guide thou my reason, my will, and my activity. And the greater the will, the greater the flow of the energy. And he said to use your own but God-given willpower to see God's power coming through you. You may remember the story of Swamiji when Master had asked him to shake hands with people after the Sunday Satsang. So Master had given the Sunday Satsang, and he says, well, I need to talk with these people. You stand by the door and you just greet everybody. So the first time he did that, first person is greeting, and then, he's getting weaker and weaker because he said to Master, please don't give me that job again because it was too exhausting. He said, it was exhausting because you were thinking about yourself. Think about the people, and then you'll have infinite energy. And then you'll find that, so many people, I'll say this again clearly, that in all my time with Swami Kriyananda, I would say in 40 years, he may have talked to me directly about something for maybe 15 minutes. And that's no exaggeration. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not about, I've got to understand it, I've just got to do it, help me figure it out, tell me what to do. It was always, you have it within you. You have the strength within you. And I think if he had said to everybody, same with Master, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, you don't grow. Just like your own children, if you do everything for them, okay, I'll do it. Okay, let me do it. Okay, I'll go to school for you. I'll take your exams. And do we know this doesn't work? But somehow we want the guru. Okay, you take my exam. Okay, you do this for me. And you never get strong. So service gives you the strength. And also it takes your difficulties away. I remember a man, I've told this story before, but it's worth saying again. He was so concerned about some issues. And he talked for an hour to one of the other teachers. And so afterwards the teacher told me, well, he wants to greet you. I said, great, fine. So he comes and his wife and wonderful people. So I greet them. And so that was after an hour of discussing the difficulty with this other man. So I said hello. And so then I see him again talking and starting the second hour, with the same guy in the corner. And I go, oh, poor guy, So he's starting on the second hour over there. In the meantime, the chanting group, kirtan group, came in to practice. So we're in Gurgaon. So everybody has 8 people with their harmoniums. And I was getting ready to leave, and I saw that. I said, what's happening now? They said, oh, we're going to practice. I said, I'm staying. So I got my harmonium, I sat with them, and we started chanting. And then I thought, I'm going to invite this gentleman to chant with us. And, play an instrument. He played tablas. So I invited him. He says, okay, good. So, instead of a second hour, come on over and join us. He comes and sits down. He starts playing. We played the second hour, we chanted. A whole hour, one chant after the other, and the next one, and the next one. I just couldn't stop chanting. And all the people with their harmoniums, and people with kirtals, and he was on the tabla. We were just almost in an ecstatic state, really. And then after that, only because people had to leave, I kept going. Only after that, we stopped. And he looked at me and he said, I'm not worried about anything now. And I said, isn't that the point? Understand? He put himself in a position to serve. Okay, I'll come over, I'll play. Somebody says, okay, I'll read. Okay, I'll do this, I'll set up the altar. Okay, I'll do the yoga class. Okay, I'll greet the person. Then you completely dump yourself. And you start knowing that God's flow and energy is helping you. And I've seen it many, many times in many people's lives. And my own, I remember once, people think, well, acharyas never have difficulties, but think again. The strength that you see comes from they've overcome. They've overcome those difficulties or those habits, or they held their ground or whatever. They didn't fall apart, or maybe they fell apart and put themselves back together, but some strength was there. And more power from the gurus is flowing through you as you say yes. And I remember a difficult time in my life, and it was in India as well. I was racing back and forth between Swamiji's house and the ashram. He kept saying, come on, do this, I'm going like this. And this was every day for months, And then, I remember at one point I said, I just got so many problems, but I don't have any time to think about them. Isn't it so? And as I didn't have the time and I was serving, the service just purified me. My consciousness was uplifted. Does it make sense? I had more energy. I was happier. Then I look over there and I said, I don't have those problems anymore. You see? Because I had a broader energy filling me. All the gurus were filling me. I didn't know. Swamiji could have said, now sit down, let me analyze you. And how would it have helped? It couldn't have helped. But this is how Master worked too. He just kept giving you things. You can get your own strength, get your own energy, get your own will. Build a foundation that you can stand on, no matter what happens. And it even helps. I remember a man came to Ananda village, and he was the husband of one of the Kriyavans, and wonderful people. She had a meditation group as well. She was serving in that way. And so every time they would come, they came to Ananda village many times, at least once a month, right? A couple of times. So for a program. So she would come, and he came with her, and he said to me, now, I don't want to learn anything here. I'm just coming for my wife. And I said, I'm fine with that. It was like, don't preach to me. and so every time he would come, I'd be over in the expanding light teaching. He said, no, I'm only here for my wife. And remember that. I said, oh, don't worry, hands off. So that happened several times. And then after, it must have been, I would say a year and a half. He would come and he would do electrical work on the buildings. You know, we were always building something. So, and he was a carpenter, electrician. So he would do that work, and his wife would be in the classes. So he came this one time and he said, no, because I just, when I didn't want to bother him. So, but he approached me this time and he says, Dhyana, I'm taking discipleship. And I said, no. And he said, no, this is my path now. I said, really? And he says, I'm aiming for Korea. And I said, well, what happened? He says, I don't know. I came from my wife and I was serving. Wow, that's a pretty strong example. He just kept serving. Wasn't even on the path. I just kept serving at the Guru's place. And suddenly he's taking discipleship. But this is what happens. Things you might want to bring your husband or wife to come help at the center, because there's so many ways that the Guru comes and helps you and uplifts you and strengthens you. And for all of us, now we're in this position of moving into the new center. It's a golden gift from Divine Mother. And really what it's about, surely we want to come together. We want to have a satsang. We want to help each other. We want to create a beautiful place. It's really, really about our own seva, isn't it? It's about our own spiritual growth. It's about us being able to reach out to other people. Us giving yoga classes. We have so many yoga teachers. It's about us being able to help people as they come in the office. It's about us putting our kirtan group, being able to chant. Do we have a kirtan group? We need a kirtan group. So kirtan group, chanting together for other people. You understand? A center is for those who are there for their own upliftment and their attunement. And you'll find that that attunement starts to come more and more. You remember, I'll close with this, Swamiji said that he wasn't very good at the yoga postures. But somehow, Master always asked him, now see, this is what I love. Master asked him, would you demonstrate it? He could have said, no, I'm not good at it. I've heard that so many times from people. I asked them simply, no. So it says, would you do it? Swamiji says, yes. But he couldn't even do the postures that well. But you know what happened? When he started to do the postures, he could do them. He suddenly could get into the poses. And he said, this is interesting. Isn't it so? Every time Master asked him to do the postures, he could do them wonderfully. Do you see? So then you're able to do things you never dreamed you could do. Because it's not you doing it anyway. It's God's power, God's energy, God's flow that's coming into you. And as you offer yourself, and that's the thing, offer anything you can do. It could be creating these beautiful altars, setting up the chairs, bringing the prasad, all of these various things we'll have to do to make our new center beautiful and magnetic. Offer yourself in that way. And I can tell you, I've meditated quite a lot over these years, but I would say that seva has been the stronger part of it. The seva has just helped the meditation. The seva has strengthened me. The seva has given me inspiration, joy, happiness, and that's one thing that's so wonderful. Master offers that to everyone. And those who serve, he said, the instrument is blessed by what flows through it. And finally, to be in tune with me, he said what? Serve my work. So this is a wonderful moment for Mumbai. And I hope all of you think about this. How can I give to my Guru? He's asking my help now. And with that, I think we'll find that our energy, joy, everything is really lifted up. God bless you all.